Hello and welcome to yet another Arsenal podcast. I'm Mark and I'm here with Anfield 89 veteran Richard.
Hello.
Rich. Well, what a week that was. Fresh from slapping Spurs like you said that we would. Well predicted, and I'm happy that you were right. We then actually faced a proper football team, Bayern Munich. Now, what do you think about the theory that even though it was a big European night, the jeopardy in it was such that it wasn't anywhere near as important as the Chelsea game. And therefore, like Manchester City, we should have gambled that we'll be able to beat the Kazakh mob and Club Bruges and maybe even get a result at Inter and not play a full team. Rest and recuperate. Versus what we did, which is go hell for leather in probably one of the best games I've ever seen Arsenal playing.
Yeah. I mean, technically, it was stunning. Both sides, there were no quarters given. It was just fantastic end to end. But I know what you're saying. I was split, and I still can't decide on what I'd prefer. I think Arteta, being the mentality he is, didn't want to go and get beat by Bayern Munich. We've had a history of that, and I think we've got scar tissue from previous good hidings from them. And I don't think, where we are two of the favourites for the competition, it wouldn't have given a fair reflection of where we are. No. And I think you wanted to see how we match up against them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think that this idea that if you'd have rested the team, you would have guaranteed a victory against Chelsea is also not true as well. I've got sympathy. I'm a go hell for leather in all these games. But like the people who say you've got to understand that there are trade-offs here. And yes, so we played Bayern Munich. We went full strength. Did that hurt us on Sunday? Maybe. But, City made 10 changes against Leverkusen, got beat, and then struggled to beat a pretty average Leeds team at home.
Yeah, took a last-minute winner.
Yeah. So, well, you say last minute, it was about fucking 10 minutes left. When
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one, but I'm pleased looking back at it. I mean, if you look at the bigger picture, if someone would have offered you 4 points and in the league and 3 points, in the Champions League, you'd have taken it.
I'd have taken it all day. Proponent of going for it against Bayern in the way that they did. Primarily, and I understand there was probably a trade-off in the freshness and the fact that we lost Saliba and didn't have Trossard for Sunday's game. Fine, right? I understand that it's the flip side. But when you're building a culture the way that Arteta has done over the years, he's had to get rid of that sort of late Wenger, Emery, you pick and choose your games that you try. I know you got the League Cup and that, but in these big European games against Bayern Munich, you need to see where you are as a team. You need to show the team how good they are as well. This is still
and show the rest of Europe. No one will want to play us.
No. And including Bayern Munich. I know Harry Kane was giving it the big one afterwards. Yeah, we'll see them in the knockouts. Well, maybe, mate. And if that's the case, I'll take it all day long.
And there was Kimmich. Kimmich was pissing and moaning, saying we played a lot of long balls, even though the fact they played more than us during the game, and they scored from one.
Yeah, what a long ball it was as well. I mean, in my opinion, that first half was one of the best first halves of, like, quality-wise, I've ever seen.
The levels were ridiculous across the board, both sides. Technically, it was breathtaking.
And it shows you just how far Arteta has brought this team. Because even when Wenger was at his peak and the Invincibles, in Europe, the European Cup, we struggled a little bit. And I think that was because the Premier League wasn't the strongest league in Europe at the time. And you could see some of these big teams like Guardiola's Barcelona, Real Madrid win it like 10 times or whatever. How many times they've won it over the last 20 years. And when you get to the late stages of these competitions, you think they're playing a different sport here. Like, this is completely... And even when we got to the final as well, could have won that, but we would have won it in the way that a lower division team wins sit in, make it tight, and hope your centre forward, who's an absolute superstar, can do a job for you. And it nearly worked. But But we did not go toe to toe with Barcelona in that game. I know there were extenuating circumstances, but we could not do it. However, fast forward 20 odd years, and we are firmly at that top table.
Yeah, we are. My only worry is, as I've said before, the demands of our league. They come into the final stages of it. Don't matter, Spanish teams, German teams, Italian teams. They come in much fresher. I mean, look at PSG. They rotated their team for weeks. They wrapped the league up, rotated their team, just kept them fresh for the Champions League. And they don't have every single week is a tough game in their leagues. They have two or three hard opponents per season, and the rest of it is a bit of a cakewalk. That's the only concern.
Right, so I'm going to look at the league table at the moment, right? So PSG aren't even top of it, funny enough. But so where are Brentford in the league? Let's have a little look if Premier League table, right? So Brentford are 10th, right? And we know they're going to be a tricky opponent, right? Nice are 10th in League 1. Let's have a look. Players. God, I've even heard of. They've got Ndombele from Spurs. I don't know if you've seen.
He retired about 5 years ago.
But
Just didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, so I mean, part of this is my own ignorance, of course, but I don't think Nice have got a single player I've heard of. Yeah, right.
And that's the difference. That is the difference.
Whereas Brentford bought a forward for like 45 million from Dortmund last year, where that just shows you the level. Like the 5th best team in London goes and buys players from the 2nd or 3rd best team in Germany, and that is the difference. And you're right. Come later in the season, they will have a freshness about them. But I think if you look at the English teams that have won or got to the final, there's a momentum that hopefully we can build it. I don't think we had it last year because it was basically being held together with blue tack and elastic bands, the squad, and like having 4 double-barrel Howlanders on the bench away at PSG as they're bringing on Barcola. And
it was a big gulf, which is why we built the squad we've got now. So hopefully that will pay dividends as we move through the season.
Yeah, so obviously we scored a goal from set piece, which, they don't defend set pieces well.
They looked panicked. Manuel Neuer, one of the greatest goalkeepers of my lifetime, genuinely looked panicked. After our first corner, he went, oh, shit. And was flapping, coming out. He didn't look comfortable at all.
One of the things that I did notice, one of the few tactical things, is how they dealt with Harry Kane. Which is, he does this thing where he sort of drops really deep and almost like threatens goads the centre half into coming with him. And in this circumstance, they did. They went all the way to the edge of the box and more often than not won the ball there. And I think that was a tactical decision that we made that really, really helped us. He wasn't really a factor in the game.
Not at all. One of my favourite moments was late on in the game, him running and Declan sliding in, scooping it off him, winning the tackle, and getting the crowd going. I mean, that was late on. What an engine! What a performance!
What a performance! So I think tactically we got it spot on, even though we didn't have the ball very much for the first 15, 20 minutes. And Declan Rice said afterwards he found it difficult to get his references. That's a phrase. That's a new phrase for me, but I kind of get it. You need to know who's where. And also, but I didn't really feel like we were under pressure.
No, I didn't.
And gradually they got a toehold in the game and went 1-0 up, and then they equalised. And I think it doesn't matter how spot on you get it tactically against these sort of teams, they can do that. They can do that sort of thing.
It was the perfect pass, an unbelievable delivery across the box. I think it was Kimmich. Kimmich from deep played a 45 yarder, pinged out to the right wing. There's not much you can do. I mean, okay, you can't win. You can't win every single ball. That's not the way the world works. It was a great ball. No problem with him getting it. It was an inch perfect pass, and the finish was stunning. Absolutely stunning. What a talent that boy is.
Yeah, I know. Max Down will be the same age as him in 2 years.
That's a frightening thought.
I know. But yeah, I mean, the German version of a broccoli head getting on the end of. But as you say, it's a brilliant goal. And sometimes you just have to take your hat off and say, like, if a free kick goes in from 35 yards, teams at that level can do that. And so it's about how we react. And how we reacted, I'm going to say the second half is the best any Arsenal team has ever played.
Just, we turned the screw. They couldn't live with us. So many players went through the gears and elevated themselves. None more so than Big Declan. I mean, he was just covered every blade of grass. I know it's an old cliche, but he was genuinely everywhere. The passing was, the tempo, and we smothered them. We absolutely smothered them. They couldn't breathe. Even when they had the ball, we hounded them. Technically, it was just a phenomenal performance.
Miles Lewis-Skelly got done for the goal, if you can call it done. I mean, if you could call an inch perfect pass from 45 yards, done. But he definitely struggled a little bit to contain Elise.
Elise's world class. Elise is, well, there's no shame. The lads had barely any football this season. You know, you need game time. Training only does so much. He just does. I think both performed. We'll get on to the Chelsea game, but I just think he looks a little bit rusty. I mean, if you remember when he came into the side last season, he wasn't. They built his time up. He was playing like 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 70 minutes.
Yeah.
Once he got that to the point where he was feeling 90 minutes, he was purring. But you can just see at the moment, and understandably, he's just not at the peak of his powers. But at least
I do have a concern that one of his methods of keeping hold of the ball has been found out.
Drawing the foul.
Using his body to and I noticed that, I think this started in the Paris Saint-Germain game. They sort of were able to sort of curl themselves round him and sort of hack it away from him. And that is happening more and more often. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not saying anything derogatory about him at all. He's not a left back for a start.
Exactly.
He should be playing midfield. He played for England there in one of the games and gave an absolute clinic. He is a class player. But I think the way in which he's been talking about is actually indicative of his success of last year. We're talking about him like he's an established, experienced player. Like when Zinchenko came in, raised the levels, got injured a few times, and then wasn't quite as reliable. We're not talking about a experienced international in his mid-20s here. We're talking about a teenager playing out of position and learning the game. So I do feel a little bit for him as well. And I also don't think he was helped out by Madueke as much as he might have been by, say, Martinelli or Trossard.
That's true. Yeah. Again, I think Madueke, even though I was really impressed with his performance, I think his integration into the team and learning the nuances of how we play have been stumped by the injury. I mean, if you look at some of the new players, how they've come in, they've learned. Look at Eze. Look, Eze's game has evolved with more game time. I think, unfortunately, Mr. It reared his ugly head, and he hasn't had that time on the training pitch and on game day to fine tune that side of his game.
Yeah,
but he did have a very good game.
He did a lot. I'm not saying it was a bad game. I'm just saying that one of the moments where I thought Lewis-Skelly's got to come off here, otherwise we're going to be in trouble, is when Elise went round the outside of him. But he went round the outside of him because Madueke had not done his job.
Yeah.
To get, I thought it made up Elise's mind what he wanted to do. Lewis-Skelly did get beaten by him, but he wasn't helped, and then he was hooked off after that. And he brought Calafiori and Martinelli on, and it had an almost immediate impact. So Martinelli came on, Madueke went over to the right and brought Saka off, which I wasn't surprised at, actually. I thought Saka had a good game, but he's still feeling his way back a little bit.
I think so.
And also, imagine if you're Lima, the left back, because Madueke is not as skillful or as clever or as productive player as Saka, but he's faster with the ball.
Yeah, he will run the legs off you. That's what he'll do. You know what he's going to do, but can you keep up? You don't need that at 70 minutes. A speedster coming on that's going to run you at every opportunity.
I think he had a very tough night that.
Yeah, you don't pick your poison with that one. I mean, but that's what we built the squad for. Ultimately, we've got our 2 left wingers. I think it's a perfect foil. 70 minutes, take some minutes out of Saka's legs, and put on. Me personally, I think Madueke looks more comfortable on the right hand side than he does the left.
Yeah,
and then which showed up with the second goal. I mean, big slick Rick with with an absolute inch perfect ball across the box, and I was really, really pleased for Madueke, because I know obviously he had his doubters, and there was quite a lot of negativity surrounding his signing. But I think he's going to be. I can see why we signed him.
Yeah, I can as well. I thought the reaction to it was ridiculous. I mean, maybe the price tag was a little bit chunky, but it's not my money, so I don't care. But I can see the price tag may have had people raising an eyebrow, but the reaction was utterly fucking ridiculous to it. And I think the subs coming on and making an impact shows what we didn't have in the Champions League last year, which is experienced professionals coming on and making an impact immediately. And it was an immediate impact. Like, we're on top, and then you make a change, and the other team are already all over the place as well, and you take advantage of it. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of last season and the past few seasons, subs coming on have literally been, this player's shattered or they've got a knock, and it's someone coming on to make do. Where we've now got players who are coming on to affect the game, and that's a massive difference. I think this season we've seen a better Martinelli, as mean as it might sound, because he's not starting. I think as an impact sub, he's outstanding, and especially. Again, it showed it with the third goal. But even before that, there was a fantastic move on the edge of the box where, I think, was it Eze that nutmegged someone, rolled it through to Marina? I mean, it was fantastic.
He seemed to be caught in two minds for the finish. But yeah, I think that was important for Eze to show to him that he belongs at this level.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got confidence and that, but until you're actually in that moment, and then you pull something off.
I mean, that's the highest level of football. There's no higher level.
Yeah, and like, I think footballer, when you're a professional footballer, how you see the game is very different to how, like, the regular punters like us do. But I think that when that Champions League music plays, they think, yeah, fucking right, I'm here.
Here we go.
Yeah. I do think it has an impact on them. And he's at the stage of his career where he's got to show that he belongs there. And I think he did the other night. So that was great. You talk about the third goal as well. Martinelli, that is a Martinelli special. He won the ball in our box.
If I close my eyes and you said describe a Martinelli goal, win the ball, run like the clappers, there will be a touch with his knee somewhere in the move, and he'll slot it past the keeper. That's what he does, and that's his power. Having him coming off the bench is a great weapon. Manuel Neuer was, I think he was at Waitrose when that move started. I don't quite, because that's always been his game. I mean, his game has always been that he was the original sweeper keeper playing that role. I think as Father Time's caught up with him, players have got quicker and he's got a bit older. And I think, listen, when you're a goalkeeper, mistakes are magnified.
Yeah. I think it looked worse from behind the goal as well. So when you watch it from the normal commentary position, I don't think when the ball goes over the top, you don't know where Neuer, and then this flash of pink. What the fuck's he doing there? And I don't know whether Martinelli consciously, well, at first I didn't know whether Martinelli had consciously needed it like that to go around him. But I think if you look from the behind the goal angle, where he must see where Neuer is, and he must know that all he needs to do is touch it, because he's nowhere near. It's not like he needed it over him and then he hurdled him, and then Neuer's nowhere near it. So I think it's one of those things where you think to yourself, I just need to get it in this rough area.
Yeah.
And I'll be away. And
that's what he's good at, those fast breaks. A lovely spot from Eze. Eze seems to have he looks up and he seems to like work playing with Martinelli. He's always got that. He knows that ball behind is available late on in games if he's on.
Yeah, I like Eze is I always thought he was a good player, but obviously once he starts playing for you, you notice like little.
Well, you watch
aspects
him a
of
lot
his
more.
game.
You
Yeah, of
analyse them
course.
a lot more.
The way he strikes a ball is unlike anyone else in our squad at the moment. Like, he sort of caresses everything. Well, it looks like he is, but against Spurs, he absolutely walloped those caresses.
Arrest three
But
right in the back of an onion bag.
Against Man City and Bayern Munich, a similar, very relaxed, beautiful, what looks like at the top, an easy pass. It's just like a clip over the top. But it's so much more than that.
He's got a lot of tools in his locker, and he's very different to Erdegaard, which I think is not a bad thing. As I said I think in the last podcast, it's horses for courses. You've got two different tools there that can do two different jobs, and I think we're the better off for it.
Yep, absolutely. So fast forward a couple of days, bit of rest and recuperation, you would think, although ahead of the Chelsea game, it transpired very late on that Saliba is injured.
Driving in positive, and then I have the radio on and I hear Saliba's injured, and I'm like, shit.
This is a little bone of contention for me. I'm not a sports scientist, but what are they doing having training sessions intense enough for people to get injured?
48 hours turnaround.
Yeah, in Champions League, Chelsea away. Is my one bone of contention with Mikel Arteta is that he seems to like monstering his players. And he said before, like, you look at the top players, they're doing it once every 3 days, 70 games a season. That worries me, that mindset.
Genetically, everyone's not built the same. So no. I don't think that quite holds up.
He never did that. He never did that as a player. Like, so that's why it's not like he was some sort of always available robo machine at the top level. So it mystifies me why he thinks that. It appears to think, maybe there are reasons for it, but
I get what you mean, because I mean we went last winter. We went to our weather training camp in Dubai, and I thought, oh, nice, get some sun, some relaxation. And then 5 minutes later, Havertz tears his hamstring off the bone, and I'm thinking, what are you doing out there?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is a really strange approach that he has, and may have cost us again. It certainly cost us a player, but the squad building that we've done, we've got Mosquera and Hincapié not played together before, but individually, no concerns about either.
No, I just think that my concern is, when you've got two of the best centre-backs in the world, and who are, without a doubt, the best centre-back partnership in the world, you can drop one of those in next to either Gabby or Saliba, and they're both good defenders in their own right, which is proven, because if we had to go there, say, in the past with Holding and Mustafi, I would have been fearful for the outcome. But having them where they don't have that understanding, and they can't, I mean, Saliba, game in, game out, is our highest passer, highest number of passes, and highest pass completion.
Yeah.
And he brings the ball forwards, which they're young, which those two don't have just yet, and it showed.
Well, Mosquera did have our most touches, our most passes, and a completion rate of 95%. So he did step into that role, but it didn't feel like that. There was a sort of an aura of authority that wasn't quite there, I think. And technically, I think they were good enough. But just maybe there was a little bit of insecurity in the platform that we were given. There was just something not there. Not to criticise them, that is understandable.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
First Premier League game away at second place,
and they definitely targeted Hincapié. They did.
Yeah, they did. Hey, do you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of a left-footed Martin Keown.
Yeah,
because he's got this sort of hunched over, very scurrying style that is reminiscent of Keown, and he sort of backs off with like almost his entire back turned with his head over his shoulder. Yeah. He's got a very similar technique.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean
in that way.
And it was a feisty affair. It was a fire.
It was a sort of game, and maybe this was informed by the nationality of some of the players on there. Sometimes you put on a Copa Libertadores game or something.
They're just knocking shit out of one another.
It reminded me a little bit of one of these. I think this game is fucking terrible.
Yeah, a game of football nearly broke out.
Yeah, and that was a clear game plan from Chelsea. And I think basically they fucked it because of that. Because positionally, tactically, I think they had it spot on. They really unsettled Arsenal. Reece James playing in midfield was a surprise to me, but I thought he had a great game overall.
He was superb. Absolutely superb.
I think he made Declan Rice's life more difficult than it was. And they played Fernandes a little bit. Is that his name, Enzo Fernandez? He played Enzo Fernandez a lot higher up the pitch as well, which I think sort of we took a little bit of getting used to, and they were dangerous. I felt they were very dangerous on the break. Esteval had a shot that I thought was going to go in the top corner. Neto was always a threat, and they were the better team. They were not that I particularly give a shit about the home side being the better team for the first half an hour in a Premier League game. I mean, that could happen up and down the league. I think that far too much has been made of that.
Yeah, I think they came out too hyped up, too emotional. Was it the fact they realised Saliba wasn't playing late on? Saliba wasn't playing, but I mean, I don't like the way that it's a cheap first mentality with them. I know footballers do go down very easily, but with them, it's they kick first, ask questions later. I mean, Cucurella could have got booked for his first tackle.
Yeah, he should have done, I think. But I can see the dilemma, because what happened with the bookings, and we were on the rough end of it, but I can see why Anthony Taylor didn't want to book someone in the first minute.
Totally.
Because you end up what you ended up with anyway, which is half of one. Like, how they only ended up with one booking, it is absolutely beyond. I can't say they could have been booked 3 times before he actually got sent off.
Caicedo does people. Let's
he does.
He does people, and he doesn't. It's not the first time he's done it. He does it in many games. I mean, they've had 7 red cards this season, and it's something they're set out to do.
Well, I thought Caicedo was going to get sent off if Taylor did his job properly, which he did. And I don't know if he was reluctant. I think he thought it was a sending off, but wanted to check.
I think it's the way.
Rather than send him off and then have it overturned, I think he preferred to book him and then upgrade it. I
think that's the right way in those situations for referees, especially you've got VAR there. Get a card out. You've seen the incident, and as we say, it was clear and obvious on the replay.
Yeah,
you've got that support there. I think that's
that's what I thought. I mean, the tactic of Chelsea going around kicking people is reminiscent of an old Alex Ferguson tactic at Old Trafford, which is basically turn it into a war, and when the referee tries to clamp down on that, he'll book them, which is what happened. Like Zubimendi, Hincapié, Mosquera.
Zubimendi for me shouldn't have been a booking. Shouldn't have been a booking.
Not a booking in a
The others, The others were bookings.
Yeah, I think you have to take that, and they all managed that very well, because I was convinced that he would send one of ours off. I thought Caicedo is going to go here, and he's been emotional against us before. Like, I don't know whether he's got in his head
he did Martinelli,
didn't he? Yeah,
last season he did Martinelli.
That he should have joined Arsenal, or
but it's not just us. It's not just us. He does it in other games. He goes right. He leaves his foot in. He leaves his foot in a lot, and then obviously once they did get the sending off, the game plan seemed to be every contact we made, overplay it and see if they can get one of our players sent off. Yeah.
Well, I'll come on to it, because when the Caicedo incident happened in real time, my first reaction was, that is an awful tackle. Now, I've heard some people say, it was just a minute, it was a 50-50. And
over the top of the ball on a planted ankle. I mean, there's no...
Well, sometimes I do have sympathy with 2 players going for the same ball, and one gets there a little bit late, and it could be... But having seen it back, it's not a 50-50. Marino has controlled the ball and passed it, and the ball's gone, right? So it's not like he got there in one time. He's controlled it and passed it, and then he's been done. So my initial reaction was, I think that's a naughty tackle. And then, do you know what utterly convinced me he was going to go off before any replay?
Let me guess. His reaction. Him pretending he was hurt.
Him pretending he was hurt. He knew he was going, and so he went down. I don't know why they bother.
I like Anthony Taylor standing there waiting, going, I'm going to finish. I'm going to let you finish your theatrics, and you're still going to get a card anyway.
Yeah, I thought his reaction tells me he knows he's in trouble here, and he's trying to stupidly try and muddy the waters a little bit where there was no mud. That was crystal clear. And when the only thing is Taylor going to have the bottle, or the VAR going to have the bottle to say that? Because I do have some sympathy about the whole should they see it in slow motion thing. Because if a referee is doing his job properly, in the moment, he will have an idea about the force of it. Because over the top of the ball always looks bad. But if you're just dangling a leg there, like it looks worse than it is. And the referee in the real time probably can have a sense of how hard or forceful was that challenge, which is the bar for whether it's a red card or not. And I think he was sure-ish that was a red and wanted it confirmed. So, and he thoroughly deserved it. I won't hear any of this slow motion bullshit. Right, that was a cast iron red card.
The only yellow card that is a bone of contention for me was the Hincapié one, because he didn't look at the defender.
I know, but it's because of the rules. Like, if it's reckless, right? If your arms are high enough to elbow someone in the cheek, and he did have a little bump on his.
He did have a nice little bump,
which I was surprised because it did look quite innocuous. But
so then, why wasn't that rule applied when Mourinho got one in the temple against Newcastle?
What, Sunderland?
Sunderland.
Yeah, I know. I'm very good.
Apologies to any North East listeners up there to get.
Yeah, you're all the fucking same, right? So I don't know. I mean, I thought that should have been a foul, but it's one of those things where Dermot Gallagher on a Monday morning will just fucking agree with whatever. I don't know, but let's say you elbowed someone in the face accidentally with little force, so it's a
and then we go into half time with 3 of the back 4 on yellows. It's a precarious situation.
I think he took the right player off as well. He's partial to a little grab because he's not a great fullback against someone like Neto. I don't think Calafiori. He's not.
He's not.
He did make a really good tackle like early on in the first half where he but you can see of those 3, he's the most vulnerable. And I think Chelsea's acting game needs a bit of upping. I really do think another thing that they messed up, because they obviously were trying to make so much out of every contact. But they did it in such an incredible, unbelievable way. Like rolling on them, like going down and rolling on them. Yeah. Doing the sort of things that people do when they're not injured.
Exactly. You're normally pretty still if you've got one of those. And it's, but yeah, it's that's the game plan they came with. That's their game plan this season. I think they're a better side than I gave them credit for before the game.
Yeah.
I did feel for Arteta when he took Calafiori off, because we had 3 or 4 defenders booked, and then Lewis Skelly got caught out of position. But should I stay or should I go? And then 10 minutes into the second half, he's on a booking as well, and I was like, oh, Christ.
Yeah, some of those yellows I think don't need to be taken. Honestly, I really think some of them. I know it's ingrained into them. You lose the ball early in the transition, foul them. But how often do you see like 3v2 situations develop and they don't score? I think it's a really cheap yellow card, especially with that distance to goal as well. I think you should back yourself to get back in position, because you'll only be a couple of yards behind. By the time they have to think about where to put the ball, you might be there, and then that gives you the option to do a proper foul a little bit later in the game.
Yeah. And then they get a corner, don't they? We give away a free kick. I think Hincapié gave away a free kick on the edge of the box.
Yeah, not even a free kick, if you ask me.
No, not in my book either. And then obviously they then get a corner from that, and score from a set piece.
This is going to sound really weird and probably not true anyway, but I actually felt comforted by that goal.
Really?
So I thought there's a long way to go, and I think this will change Chelsea's approach for the worse, in that they've got something to hold on to, and they'll retreat and camp back in their box, and that is something that would suit us.
For their goal, I mean, it was a good header.
I'm not saying we should have let it go in deliberately. I'm just saying I was disappointed. I thought, bollocks, but I wasn't at panic stations by any means. I think I was confident that Chelsea would change the way they play, and it would come into our hands, and we would score.
I mean, if I'm being critical, I think Mosquera was in the wrong position. There was no one on the back. He was sort of
people
drawn.
don't put people on the posts anymore.
No, but
I think he could have been stronger with Fernandes on the line and got his head to it. But I don't know. It's quite
one of those
hectic and frantic in that. And it's a good delivery. It's a good flick, and it exposes one of the zones that you're weak in. I mean, you can't be strong everywhere, and it can happen. And they scored plenty of goals from corners.
Yeah. They're second behind us. They're second behind us for
only
set-piece
like
goals.
one or two set piece goals behind us. Of course, loads have been made about Chelsea's reliance. I haven't heard a fucking whisper.
And then it was I think, looking at the performances, I was disappointed in Martinelli. I think he was pretty ineffective as I said.
He did nearly score. I thought Sanchez, their goalie, I thought he had a pretty good game.
Good save down low.
Yeah, and he made another one from, I think, Marino in the second half, very similar, where he was going the wrong way.
He didn't beat anyone. He didn't beat a man all day.
No, he didn't. And when Madueke came on, I was a little bit disappointed with him as well. I wondered if the occasion got to him.
Yeah, I think it could have done. And did you see Enzo boot him off the ball?
Yeah, I did.
Just don't like him. I really don't like him. I can't help it. Cucurella and Enzo just got such punchable faces.
Chelsea are just a fucking hateful club. I've heard it said that Arsenal and Tottenham hate each other because, that's the rules. Arsenal and Tottenham hate Chelsea because we're both sets of human beings.
Yeah, a wonderful club that don't own their stadium, don't own their name. Yeah, just a horrible, nasty little club.
Yeah,
and then
basically Crystal Palace, who won the lottery.
Yeah, exactly. And then good to see Odegaard come on.
And he takes much more criticism than I think he deserves, Odegaard. Because I could watch him play all day long. And do you know what look at is how players react to him.
Mm.
And the way they react to Odegaard is that he wants the ball and they give it to him.
Yeah. I like that. He really does dictate our tempo. He dictates our press. He brings so many other players into the game. His final ball looked a bit rusty, and which is understandable. He's been out a long time. I still would like him to be a bit more oomph on crosses and that type of thing. They're all a little bit floaty and a little bit.
Yeah. But on reflection, when he came on, I felt we pushed them back about 5 or 10 yards. I think.
But you know what? The one substitute I think was a mistake was bringing Gyökeres on. I think because they're a team that's sitting so deep, I didn't think there was space for him to do what he does. I
was pleased to see him back, but I agree with you. I thought it at the time. Thought that's a bit of a strange one, unless he thinks like maybe we need, the fox in the box. And he did have two foxy on the boxy chances. One was the rebound where Sanchez made an absolute clown of himself. Because when Gyökeres slid in like that, I did think it wasn't a 50-50. It was definitely 60-40 at best in the keeper's favour. I thought, he might be in trouble here. But then Sanchez started rolling back like an utter fucking clown. And I thought, no, it'd probably just a yellow.
Yeah. It was. And he could have won it at the death. He could have done. I know
it's one of those coulda, shoulda, woulda, but I think Timber's got to go for that header to stop whoever was marking him, Fofana or Chalobah, from having. I think to ask him in that situation to have the awareness to sort of challenge for the ball but not and duck under it is asking too much. So I know, and I think had he not done that, I think they may have been able to clear it. So it's not as clear cut, but it was 1-1 by then because another goal for Mikel Merino. How
wrong I was certainly about him. He's not the player we thought he was. He's really not.
He's not he isn't. I actually think he's better in this position than he is in the position that we bought him for.
Completely.
When he drops into midfield, I sometimes don't like the passes he makes, don't like the decisions he makes, and he gets caught on the ball a lot.
I mean, we took Zubi off because obviously he's had a lot of minutes and he was on a booking, so we took him off. Dropped Rice deeper, which then dropped Marino, and it sort of just disappeared at that point.
He is a strange old player. He has, imagine that you would buy a player with his numbers. It's just
What would call the
incredible.
goals and assists that he
Yeah,
gives you.
like he's up to nearly 30 for the year. It's like
So-
Saka numbers. That was a great header and a great finish.
Great
But
header.
I bet Arteta fucking loves Marino.
Oh, he's got the same barbers, I reckon.
God, imagine the broom that needs to sweep all that up with.
Christ. Need a leaf blower in that place. But yeah, another great finish. And at that point, I was like, I know we had a numerical advantage, but I was like, if we can get out of it, we'll draw. Looking at the run of games. But the interesting thing is, I mean, the narrative around Chelsea, fantastic 10 men. But then last season, when we did the same against City, the narrative was completely different.
It was completely different, and I couldn't give a shit about the narrative.
No.
I thought, and I still think that it was Chelsea's best opportunity. It's literally their best opportunity to gain ground on us, playing us at home. Right? They can't have a better chance of that because they have to rely on other teams or come to us. So that was their best opportunity to take ground from us, and they got the tactical element of it spot on. And they fucked it for ill discipline and booting us up in the air. Where if they hadn't even bothered with all that, they might have even won that game comfortably and wouldn't have Caicedo, who's now banned for the next 3 games.
Yeah. And we started that game with no centre halves and no forwards.
They really missed an opportunity there. That was my view of that whole thing. And so we end November, which has traditionally been a
honking month for the Arsenal. Honking is the word.
Honking is the word. In pretty decent shape. 5 points clear of City, 6 points clear of Chelsea.
Players coming back, apparently. Trossard's a few days, Saliba's a few days.
Big Gabby's
by the end of December.
Month. So hopefully the cavalry is on its way. I think Havertz coming back is going to be much more impactful than we think, because you go back to what Kimmich was saying about Bayern Munich. They actually fell for something, which was football tactics are all about trade-offs. You do something, but you have to accept something else as a result of that. And one of the things that we did against Bayern Munich was set up as if we were going to play it out to Saliba, which they wanted. So Bayern Munich, their shape is high press, give it to Saliba, set the trap basically, and then jump on him there. And I think PSG will probably play in the same way. And we don't always do that. A lot of going long. And I think when Havertz comes back, the benefit of that is going to be enormous, because he's better in the air than anyone at the club, I think, except for maybe Big Gabby. He can't play him up front. Yeah,
no, I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing him back. We've got, nice to see Gabriel Jesus on the bench on his road back. I'm sure he can play a part, because again, he gives us something that we don't, that Havertz and Gyökeres don't have. Hopefully, he can play his part, and we move on to Brentford tomorrow.
Yeah. So, what do you think about a lot of talk about rotated? Because a lot of players have played a lot of minutes, as is the Arteta way. Can't rotate half the team. This is not a League Cup game.
No.
Brentford are not mugs. They seem to be in decent form. Haven't really seen them play. They are Brentford, a tricky mid-table team that will give you some problems. So maybe Saliba will be back, maybe not.
I'd like to see.
I think he'd be. Go on.
If I was being greedy, obviously, I know we've spoke about his injury. The amount of wear and tear on his body, but I wouldn't mind seeing Ben White getting some time tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of people saying Ben White, but again, I wonder if he's physically up to it. Not any shade on him at all. Definitely not as a footballer. I love the way he plays football, but he does not look as fluid as. And Arteta was asked about that, and he said he's got to earn it, which I didn't see the full context of or how he said it, but I don't know.
It would be a shame if he's built this squad and doesn't use it to its full potential.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Norgard seems to be in Siberia as well, which
Yeah.
is a shame. It's his old team, and I bet he'd love to get on and show what he can do.
And Declan's basically undroppable. He could do with. I think the Champions League games coming up. I'd like to see some proper rotation where they don't matter.
Yeah, I agree. The Kazakh side, surely that could be a League Cup team.
Play Norgard. Give Rice a break. Play Marino and Norgard. Stick, Gokares will need some minutes. Jesus will need some minutes.
Yeah.
Hopefully play Martinelli on the left if Trossard is back as quick as they think he's going to be. There's your impact sub. Give him 90. Madueke, just give him. I don't care what the team is for that game. I genuinely don't.
No, exactly. But we got two pretty tough games. Like Brentford at home, we should be winning, but that's the sort of game that we've drawn 2-2 in the past. And then Villa away on an early kickoff, which
Emery clears the decks for a month before he plays us. He's holding a grudge, that man. He's holding a grudge. But then tonight, we forget about tonight. Spurs have got to go to Newcastle. Lovely. I mean,
well, I said against us, Thomas Frank lit the fuse on his own sacking by playing. How about slagging off all the fans?
And then the players have come out and done the same thing. Pedro Porro's come out with a whole statement, and the players huddle in the middle of the pitch and don't go to the fans. I mean, what are they doing over there?
I don't know. So, booing your own players, right? Now, I don't boo anyone because I think a grown man, let's take it out of context. There's a big cacophony of boo like that. But what that is a group of individuals all going boo. As a man in my 40s, I will not make that sound outside of a pantomime.
I mean, I can remember us doing it twice. Once to the great Tiger Man himself, Emmanuel Boué, and obviously the Granit Xhaka incident the other year. But yeah, it's not going well there.
I think booing your own players gets too much of a bum rap. Sometimes it is essential because what you as a crowd can see is this player needs to be dropped.
I remember a phone call I got from you where Alex Song at Charlton was that very...
No, it's Fulham,
sorry.
Fulham away. Where was his debut? He didn't even look like he was a professional footballer. I felt a bit sorry for him. Well, I did feel...
Didn't feel like you felt sorry for him on that phone call.
No, I wasn't. In retrospect, I felt sorry for him. At the time, I was furious. But booing your own players is one of the great pleasures in life. That, what I was saying earlier, that football fans don't understand players approach things. Players sometimes don't understand fans, and that is fine. But right, they know that Vicario should be dropped. Right?
What did I say last week? He cannot kick.
He can't kick the ball. And so booing your own players sometimes, it's the last resort. No fan wants to boo their own players.
No, they want them to do really well.
They want them to be. They would love it if Vicario, René Higuita did it all way up the pitch and stuffed it in the top corner. Unfortunately, as you say, he's got feet of clay, almost literally. So, but yeah, booing your own fans, booing your own players, excellent. But long may that toxic relationship continue. It's a shame they're away, really.
They get touched every time they go up there. So I'm really looking forward to it. I will have that on.
I remember once they got done 7-1 up there.
Did they let 5 in 24 or 5 in 25 minutes the other year?
Yeah, lots of that.
Yeah, and then but what really helps is the having the most expensive season tickets in the country and your manager saying you're not real fans. That's the one way to keep your job.
Yeah. There's a man who's eyeing up a little payout.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, we'll keep an eye on the Brentford game. Watch that, and fingers crossed we can get 3 points there and extend our lead at the top there. So I mean that will put us on, fingers crossed, 33 points. I mean we're 5 clear of City, 6 clear of Chelsea, 6 clear of Villa, 8 clear of Brighton. So there's still daylight there. If someone would have offered you that at the beginning of the season, going into December, 5 points clear of City, you'd have ripped their.
Yep, I certainly would have done. And it's not like in the past where they've had a game in hand and we do have to go to their place, but it is a genuine lead rather than one of these like sort of kind of pretend Leeds. And as you say, 6 points, very good chance of extending that.
I'm telling you, City aren't the team they were. The defence, midfield, they've got an absolute juggernaut up front. But apart from that, they will drop points. It's up to us to capitalise every time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Right, so they're the next 2 games, and we'll be back after the Villa game to pick the bones out of it. Until then, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from him.
See you later.
See ya. Bye.